What's going on, y'all? It's Derek J407, aka Best Heel Ever, and I'm here to give you, once again, my review of Lucha Underground. It is episode 3 this week of season 2. Another good show. Nothing huge or major happened on this show. Just, still advancing stuff, but, it wasn't this perfect, fantastic show. It was just another good show, which is like most weeks, So we started things off with a debut, the debut of Cobra Moon. I talked about her last week. They showed a little vignette for her, said that she'd be debuting on this show, and that's the first thing that happened. She had a match against, what was his name? Bengala, the dude dressed up as a tiger, Bengal, if you will. So they had a match. It was a basic match, nothing special. Just a showcase for her. She, like her whole entrance, she's like a cobra. She's like, moves like a snake. She does this. I'm not gonna do it, but she like sticks her tongue out and kind of does this on her finger and all that kind of stuff. This sensual, sexy kind of stuff. In the end, she made Bengala tap out to a snake sleeper. So she was wrapped around his body in a way where, it was basically a sleeper hold. And, that's what it was. So, yeah. Good debut. That's one more victory for her than PJ Black has. Dude debuted last week against the Mac and lost. I still can't get over that. But, yeah. So, good debut for Cobra Moon. We had a few backstage skits with Katrina. The first one, I believe in my notes here, first one was with Phoenix. So they were just talking. He basically said he wanted his revenge against King Cuerno, and then once he's done with him, he's still not, basically he's not done with Mill or you, so he's still in the hunt. He's still trying. He lost his Gift of the Gods title to King Cuerno back on the first episode, but now he's back and he wants revenge, and so that main event was set up a little bit later. We then had a segment. This was showing, I don't know if this was supposed to take place thousands of years ago, but they had a little title, like little things, it said thousands of years ago, and then I couldn't really follow everything that was going on, but basically what they were talking about, there's like these tribal figures. There was one, like, I think you heard, the voice of a little girl, pretty much, her voice was narrating most of this thing, and you saw different tribal figures, and they were talking about the gods and destinies and all that kind of stuff, and talking about something about this war going on, and basically this built up to showing Aerostar. So this is first time we see Aerostar this season, and he says that he's gonna finish this war or end this war or whatever, and then the sparks shoot off and he flies away. That's kind of what Lucha Underground is, and that's the kind of character he is. He turns this little ball of light and flies away, but this time he went straight up into the galaxy, I guess, into the cosmic whatever is up there. So this is kind of playing in, I guess this is playing into what the reports were a few months ago when Lucha Underground first announced the new season, that they would do a more space kind of stories and that kind of stuff. So I guess that's what this is. Aerostar went up to space to fix whatever intergalactic war is up there. So I don't know, maybe he'll see Kirk and Spock and up there in Star Trek, and then maybe on the other side of the galaxy he'll see Luke and Leia and Ray and Finn and Kylo Ren and all them motherfuckers. I don't know. Then we had another backstage segment. It was another Katrina one. It was Katrina and King Cuerno. Cuerno, he was lifting weights. Katrina came in, very seductively touching all over his body and that kind of stuff, telling him that he basically failed. Like, his job was to end Phoenix a few weeks ago, but he did not end him. But she told him that, now tonight your job is to kill the Phoenix. And he told her that the hunt is on, and he was on his way. Before that, she announced that the main event for the night would be a match that he himself, that being Cuerno, is undefeated in, that being Last Luchadore Standing. The only time this match took place last season was between him and Drago, and he won that, so undefeated. So, yeah, so that was the main event, big main event for this show. So, big ups for that one. Then we had, speaking of Drago, perfect segue, we had a match between Drago and Jack Evans. This is the first time both of them are appearing this season. Good to see Drago. I don't know if I really talked about this before, but, Pentagon Jr., that was my boy last year, seeing him break people's arms and that kind of shit. I really liked him. Prince Puma, I was big into him. Mil Muertes, big fan, but another one, I really like Drago. The whole thing with the black tongue that, just kind of slicks out of his mouth and that kind of stuff is just disgusting. But, I get into it. It's cool. It's a cool attribute that he has. So, him and Jack Evans is just about the biggest dick, just the biggest douchebag that you could possibly run into. I've seen many Jack Evans in my college days. I sound so old saying that, college days. My college days was just like a year ago. But yeah, it's like I've been around many Jack Evans before, but still, the dude is a great wrestler. He's a great athlete, and that's kind of like some of the ones that I met. They're a bunch of douchebags, but they're fraternity boys, or they play hockey or baseball and that kind of stuff, and they're really talented. And that was this here. There was one spot early on in the match where Drago just basically, I think Jack, he smacked him first, but then Drago smacked him, and then he did this corkscrew, just this ridiculous overselling of a slap, but it was funny. But yeah, this match was really good, one of the better matches that we've seen so far this season. In the end, though, it looked like Drago was about to win. He hit him with, I think it was a blockbuster, and it looked like, Jack Evans, just like his neck and head just planted into the mat, and it looked like he was dead, and it looked like Drago was about to go for the Dragon Sleeper, I think. But Jack, he kind of contorted it, and he was able to get like a backslide and position it to where his feet were on the ropes without the referee seeing. So Jack Evans gets the win. He gets on the microphone. He cuts off Melissa Santos. He gets on the microphone, and he announces himself as the winner, and he announces himself as Jack the Dragon Slayer Evans. So I guess that's going to be his gimmick for the foreseeable future until we get a rematch where Drago wins. But yeah, he calls himself the Dragon Slayer now, so okay. What else happened? Then we had what was next? A Tejano vignette. So they just showed a vignette of Tejano. He's going to be coming back next week. This video was just showing him, talking about how he's a proud Mexican. Brought up the stuff with him and Chavo and Blue Demon Jr., them turning on him last season and beating him down, leaving him left for dead pretty much at the end of Ultima Lucha. Well, their segment ended with Tejano being beat down. So, yeah, he's coming back. They ended the segment showing him in a bar beating up a bunch of random luchadors. I guess people in Lucha Underground, they just go around beating the hell out of people wherever. Like last week, PJ Black was in like the parking lot of a motel beating up people, and now here Tejano's in a bar beating the hell out of people. I mean, I don't go to bars and just beat the hell out of people, or motel room parking lots, but I'm really never in motel rooms, you know. But whatever, that's them. So yeah, like I said, Tejano, he will return next week. Then we had a backstage segment with Katrina and Prince Puma. She was, you know, taunting him about Conan when and very seductively touching him too, just like she was doing with Cuerno earlier. So she was taunting him about Conan and how he, like, when the lid shut when he was putting the casket, you know, he said forgive me and all that kind of stuff. But she said, you know, and she was basically, you know, getting under his skin, and then directed his attention to Pentagon Jr. Said, you know, maybe next week you'll be the one to deliver a sacrifice for your master, and left it on that. Puma left. I think the whole point of the segment was, you know, talking about, you know, what God do you pray to and that kind of stuff. Whatever. And it set up next week's main event of Pentagon Jr. and Prince Puma. I'm very much so looking forward to that match. Those are two of my favorite guys in Lucha Underground, so I'm looking forward to seeing those two face off next week. Then we had the main event, Last Luchadore Standing, between Phoenix and King Cuerno. It was basically what you expected between Phoenix and King Cuerno. A lot of flips, a lot of dives, brutal use of weapons, and Phoenix getting his ass kicked for most of it. That's basically what these kinds of matches are. Every time Phoenix, well, at least that's how it was whenever Phoenix was in a match against Mil Muertes. Like, you know, he had him beat down sometimes, but for the most part, the match would be Phoenix getting his ass kicked, getting his mask ripped, and getting whatever bruises bit, and then him getting his ass kicked, and then somehow eking out a victory at the end of it. But yeah, so it was still a good brawl, a very good match here. There was one point where Cuerno got a ladder and smashed it into Phoenix's face, and it's like, you know, usually when you see ladders in WWE, you see guys getting, you know, hit in the face with ladders, like the top of the ladder, and, you know, holding it like that, you know, ramming it into their face like that. You usually see them kind of get their hands up a little bit. You don't really see it just connect like head on or face on, but this one was face on. It got him right in the face. But that ladder came into play in the finish because Phoenix was laid out, the referee was counting, but then Cuerno told him to stop counting, and then he put Phoenix on a table, climbed the ladder, but then Phoenix got back up, pushed the ladder over, and King Cuerno came falling off the ladder. Well, the ladder was coming with him. He came crashing down, went through the table, couldn't make it to a 10 count, and that was it. Phoenix won the Last Luchadore Standing Match. This was not the finish, though, because then we cut to a police office where this lady, Officer Velasquez or something like that, she's talking to Officer Rise or Reyes, whatever. You know, it's very familiar, though, because it is Cortez Castro, member of the crew from last season. She's assigned him on this job to track down Dario Cueto, and she told him that, you know, you're in too deep, but I am going to assign you a partner. That partner turns out to be Officer Joey Ryan, who comes in sucking on a lollipop, and she tells him, you know, go to the temple, pretend like you don't know each other, pretend like you even hate each other. And, you know, Joey Ryan is like, you know, that's not a problem. And she tells them that their mission is to take down or bring down Dario Cueto. So they got to find him and bring him down. So that's interesting. Joey Ryan is in Lucha Underground. It looked like him. I didn't really look up if it was him, but like I watched enough TNA when he was on there to know what Joey Ryan looks like, and, you know, the lollipop even sold it for me. I'm like, the only wrestler I know who would probably be on here sucking on a lollipop is him, and that's what it was. So that's another story, another progression. So I don't know when Dario Cueto is going to return to the temple, but he's off doing his own thing with Black Lotus. So, but yeah, that was the end of this show. Good show. Looking forward to next week, and the week after that, and the week after that, and all that good stuff. It's good to review this show, the best wrestling show on TV right now. That is it for me. I will see you guys later.